everyone. Welcome back to Transfer Weekly. This now episode number 5. The Christmas break is coming at us thick and fast. And with that, so are the transfers for the feeder series. And that is what we are here to bring you the updates from this week. My name's Chris McCarthy. I'm your host, and I bring with me 2 brand new guests to the show. Very excited to welcome a presenter from feeder series, Isi Browning. You'll recognize her from presenting many of the feeder series. Isi, great to have you on the show for the first time.
Thanks for having me. There's a lot to talk about, so very, very excited.
Thank you for joining us. Yes, plenty to get into, and also a new editor to the feeder series team as well. Thanks for joining us, Laura Anequini.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you as part of the team, and great to get you straight on to the show as well. I think one thing I want to start with, I'm going to come to you first on this, Isi, is one of the biggest stories before we get into the transfers on this week was that we had the Aston Martin Autosport BRDC Young Driver of the Year award. Yes, it takes a few seconds to say that one, but we had the winner of that announced last week, and that went to Joseph Loake. It was quite a short list that it was rattled down to between himself, Taylor Barnard, Arvid Lindblad, and Callum Voisin. But the GB3 vice champion was announced the winner. With that, of course, he gets that test in an Aston Martin Formula 1 car, £200,000 as well, and full BRDC membership with many other things as well. What did you make of that, Izzy? I mean, he seemed very emotional when he had his interview. And for some drivers, this really just set off their career, doesn't it? Zach O'Sullivan, I think, an example of that. George Russell and Lando Norris likewise.
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, it was always going to be a big talking point, especially with who else was nominated. Of course, Callum Voisin as well, the guy who Joseph was battling for the GB3 championship with. I mean, that clip on Instagram, if any of the viewers have seen it, of him accepting the award, kind of was a bit of a tearjerker. He was really, really emotional, and you can just kind of see like how much a prize like that really means to a driver, because I mean, like you said, it's kind of like the kickstart of their career to be on that stage and to be recognised by someone like Aston Martin, the BRDC. I mean, it does mean a lot to them, and the prize itself is also like a fantastic opportunity. I mean, obviously the test in the Aston Martin car, that's the dream for any of those drivers. But also you've got, you know, a bit of money to add to their budget, which for any driver, obviously we know that motorsport is really expensive, especially kind of like as you move up those feeder series ladders. So yeah, I mean, just absolutely fantastic. And he's a really, really humble guy, really talented guy. First season in GB3, he was not really expecting to be the level that he was. He kind of did an interview at the beginning of the season where he was like, oh, well, you know, I would like to be battling for the championship, but is it realistic? And then, you know, he won the first race at Alton Park, and from then we could see his talent. So yeah, fantastic guy, and really good luck to him.
Yeah, no, I got to meet him at Silverstone. A really, really nice kid, and as someone like you said, I think who definitely could do with having that extra bit of backing. Laura, what about yourself? I mean, he said in his interview as well, one of his interviews, that his sights are now firmly set on doing Formula 3. Similar to Luke Browning, I guess, the backing definitely helped him get into Formula 3, and he's announced he's coming back now for next year, which we'll talk about a little bit later, I'm sure. But what do you think? Do you think we'll see Joseph Loake on the grid next year?
Yeah, I'm interested to see where he's going, because the plot becomes interesting if we see the other finalists for the prize. Like Arvid Lindblad has signed with Prema, Taylor Bernard seems to be on his way, also as well signing, and Callum Voisin was spotted testing with Carlin. So yeah, the question is, where is Joseph going now? He's following their footsteps? What lies ahead in his racing career? So I'm excited to see where he's going next.
Yeah, he didn't do any testing, but this could be just what he needs. And we must give a shout out as well. Of course, it all came at the Autosport Awards, where Freddie Slater actually won the National Driver of the Year. The 15-year-old beat Ash Sutton, BTCC champion, and the runner-up Tom Ingram and Dan Harper as well. I think that's a driver who is going to be up for that award at some stage. Very excited to see what he does next. All right, let's get into the transfers then. We're going to start at the top of the tree in Formula 2, where we had an announcement over at Van Amersfoort Racing, who have signed Enzo Fittipaldi for 2024, who switches over from Rodin Carlin for what is going to be his third full season now in Formula 2. Do you see this as a bit of a step back for him? I mean, he had a he had a more successful season in a way with Charouz, getting more podiums there than he did with Rodin Carlin. Yes, he did get on the top step, but do you think this is a bit of a step back going to Van Amersfoort, or do you think he can push forward?
I think this was a really interesting one because you're moving from a team like Rodin Carlin to Van Amersfoort. You're moving essentially from a very experienced team, a big name amongst the feeder series, a team that's kind of, they have a name for a reason, they have the good reputation. So it's probably fair to say one of the teams that's lower down the grid. They are newer than Carlin are, so it doesn't mean that good things can't be done. But it is an interesting move. As for Enzo, third full season in F2, obviously he had a decent haul of points this year. Finished 7th in the standings ahead of his teammate Zane Maloney, and didn't those two put on a show this year?
Yeah.
He obviously had his first win in Spa as well, and then a podium again on that Sunday. I mean, there's some momentum to build on, and you also have to think about the fact that he's going to have that advantage against some of the new faces that are coming onto the grid. He's an experienced driver in F2 now, and maybe that's what Van Amersfoort need. And you've also got to kind of think about the fact that we are bringing a new car into F2.
Yeah.
What's that going to do? Is that going to reset the field? Are we going to see, some of the teams that we didn't really expect to be up there? Are they going to be up there? There's a lot of factors kind of at play. Yes, he moves to what some people would consider a worse team than, say, someone like Carlin. But I don't think the challenge is insurmountable. You could argue that Charouz were also not the best team, but he still pulled podiums out of that car. So it is an interesting move, but I think Enzo has talent. And whether that's all going to come together enough for a title charge, have to wait and see.
Yeah, but maybe he likes that challenge of helping teams, pushing teams forward. And as you said, Van Amersfoort have achieved fantastic things in F4, FRECA as well, and in Formula 3 now. So who knows, maybe this is exactly what they need. Could work good both ways. It's definitely an exciting announcement either way for Formula 2, and keeps a very experienced driver in the field in what is a grid that is becoming hugely, hugely exciting. Okay, let's go from Formula 2 to Formula 3, where we had the birthday boy from this week, Leonardo Fornaroli, who has announced he's staying with Trident for the 2024 season. Of course, our rookie champion from FRECA last season, who jumped up to Formula 3 this season, finished 11th, taking the 3 podiums, got that pole position at Silverstone as well. Laura, I mean, what did you make of his debut season, and what do you think of his hopes going into next season as well? Because he's going to have to lead that Trident team, isn't he, now? And he steps into the shoes of a champion, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So as I said, he's continuing his journey with Trident, and he made a mark finishing 11th, which was really good considering it was only his rookie year in Formula 3. But as you also said, he was the 2022 FRECA rookie champion, and he secured an 8th place in the championship. And now he's going to be the lead in Trident, essentially, since his teammates are likely to be rookies straight from FRECA, because expected to join them is Sami Magneton. No, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Sami Megatunif, yeah.
Yeah, and Santiago Ramos, which was good as well. So both rookies showcase their skills in Formula Regional, but also in postseason testing, which makes them promising additions to Trident. So yeah, he has to step into the role of a team leader to guide these rookies and to have Trident to continue to be a force to be reckoned with this year, essentially.
Yeah. He was very quick in testing, top 3 in all 3, and definitely took the lead role to help those 2 guys jumping up from FRECA, who did very good this season. So let's see how Leo does. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Let's stay with F3 then. We kind of teased this one a little bit earlier in the show, but it was officially announced that Macau Grand Prix winner Loake Browning is going to be staying with Hi-Tech for 2024. The Williams Junior made that announcement official. I mean, Izzy, this becomes very exciting for the Hi-Tech team, for F3 fans in general, off the back of winning the Macau Grand Prix. And off the back of his Aston Martin test as well. He's now coming back in for what is surely going to be a title charge in Formula 3 next year, and what's going to be his second season.
Yeah, you would say so. I mean, probably Luke Browning fans are pretty happy that he's announced it early this time. So yeah, definitely another exciting talent and a possible title contender. I mean, he's sticking with high tech. He won the GB3 title with them. Obviously just won the Macau Grand Prix with them. I think it's a good decision. He knows the team. Why fix what isn't broken? Gelling with a team is so important. As you know, in the feeder series, having that relationship with the team is really key. So I think it's a good move. Obviously finished 15th in F3 this season, had a podium in his first season. There's a lot of potential with room to grow and improve going into this season. And again, like having that first kind of learning season is something that we have seen before in F3 as being like really important. I mean, you only have to look at someone like Pepe Marti, who came on massively between his first and his second season, because having that first learning season, going from maybe not so familiar with the European circuits, it does take time to get used to them. So that's something that he's going to have that advantage on all the new guys coming in. And I mean, you've got to have confidence, having wrestled that thing round Macau so successfully. I think on the last episode, he was called like the King of Macau. You've got to bring some confidence into your next season doing that. High Tech as a team generally kind of been like 4th, 5th, 6th in the team standings in F3. But with the right driver, someone like Luke, there could be something special. So yeah, definitely a title contender, I reckon.
Yeah, beating Dennis Hauger to the line as well, wasn't it? It was really impressive. And someone said to me earlier in the week, actually, he's a good second season driver, and I think his British F4 and GB3 titles kind of go to that. So let's see. Tends to be a champion in his second attempt. So let's see how he does next year. Don't want to speak too soon or jinx it, but that's definitely one to consider. Okay, let's go to we've done F2, we've done F3. We're going to come back to F3 soon, but I want to go quickly to the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, or FRECA as we all know it, because RSGP have made their first signing for next season. This is a very exciting one, actually. They have signed Tuukka Taponen for the 2024 season, not just for FRECA, but for the Middle East Championship as well. He was... I remember him from karting, hugely talented driver, hugely successful driver in that as well, and did really good things in F4 this season as well, Laura. So, I mean, given he's going to have that Middle East experience, I think we see a title contender here in Tuukka for RSGP. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. So this year he embarked on a triple campaign with Prema on multiple continents. He made his single season debut in Formula 4 UAE Championship, and he finished 5th in both the Italian 4 and Euro 4 Championship. So it was really an impressive season. And if we go back to 2021, he had a stellar performance in the FIA Karting World Championship, which he won again, which he emerged victorious against like Ugo and Arvid Lindblad. So yeah, with such a strong karting background, the question that arises for me is will he be able to bring this success and fight for the FRECA title? Because yeah, he's really good, but we cannot forget that Rafa Câmara as well, another F3 driver, will also continue in FRECA and also is aiming for the title. So this for me will be a really interesting battle to see how this is going to turn out.
Yeah, he was actually a Tony Kart factory driver in his karting days, which is like the Ferrari of karting. So, yeah, very excited to see how he gets on, actually. One to keep an eye on. Great to have him in the championship, and great to have this man staying in the championship, because there was rumours this driver could be going to Formula 2, but it was made official he's staying in Formula 3. And that is Ollie Goethe, who has announced he's going to be switching from Trident back to Campos Racing, where he began his Formula 3 campaign in 2022. He's going back there now for his second full season in 2024, Ollie Goethe. Great to see him staying in the championship, Isi. I mean, I think he had a really good debut season, got on the top step of the podium, and now he's back with Campos. Quite an interesting decision, that, actually, but clearly he enjoyed his time there in 2022. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think he's another one that's kind of similar to Luke Browning in the sense that he's got those building blocks. So there's potential for next season of a title charge. Yeah, switches from Trident to Campos for the second full season. As you said, decent 2023 season, finished top 10 in the championship, the win at Silverstone. Now being backed by Red Bull. So, I mean, that's either a confidence booster or it's more pressure. I guess we'll see which one. Yeah, as far as things with Campos go, I mean, they're a bit of an up and down team in terms of history, but they're obviously coming off the back of their best season, I think, ever in modern F3, placing 4th in the standings. So let's see what they can do. Again, it's going to be important for them to gel well. And the other thing you've got to remember is lots and lots of F3 drivers, all of the top 5 moving up to F2. So there's kind of like those big shoes to fill. I'd say, again, going back to Pepe Marti, he's sort of going to be looking to fill Pepe Marti's shoes. And yeah, I mean, it's looking good for him, fastest overall in the test, but F3 always surprises, so we shall see. I will say, though, interestingly, Fornaroli and Goethe, 2 former teammates the previous year, could become title rivals the following year. And where have we seen that before? Well, Pourchaire and Vesti this year. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, very, very interesting point, actually. Yeah, no, that's I didn't think of that. It's maybe a point that he wants to take a lead role in the team, isn't it? Over at Campos Racing. And as you said, Pepe Marti did that very well and got Red Bull backing out of it as well. So let's see how Ollie Goethe does. He was very quick in testing as well, particularly at Barcelona, where he went fastest overall. But who knows? Could we see Goethe, as you said, Fornaroli, once teammates become championship rivals? One to keep an eye on. Great point. Okay, let's go back to FRECA then, where we have the Santalok Racing lineup confirmed. Laura, I'm going to come to you for this because this, in our last episode, was being called the team now to watch for 2024, as they have now completed the signing of Theophile Nael. It was maybe it was rumored in our last episode that this could be happening, but the Spanish F4 champion has now been confirmed at that team, and he's going to race alongside fellow F4 graduates Matteo De Paulo and Enzo Fittipaldi. So they may all be F4 graduates, but they bring in a Spanish F4 champion who did very well on his way to taking that title as well, didn't he?
Yeah, so his journey seems to be a captivating one this year because he comes into FRECA as the reigning Spanish F4 championship, which was a title that he secured with an impressive record of 8 wins, 14 podiums in only 21 races. And his success in the Spanish F1 Championship elevated Santalok's racing status. So it positioned them as a formidable contenders for the 2024 season. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how this combination is going to turn out this year. Will the success continue? It's really interesting to see.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting. They've got 3 very good graduates there and a team going into their 2nd season as well. So they're going to definitely be pushing on. Interesting to see how they go. They've got a Spanish F4 champion. I think we had 4 F4 champions on the grid last year. So already got 1 or 2 maybe now that is for next year. Okay, you mentioned Theo Pourchaire, Isi, just there a little while ago. Let's talk about him because we're done pretty much with transfers now. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other topics that have been going on. One of them is that Theo Pourchaire was amongst some of the names taking part in the Super Formula pre-season. He announced he was taking part in both the preseason and the rookie test with Team Impul, which has been going on this week. Does this answer our question as to where he's going to be going next year? And if so, what do you make of that as a move for him going forward?
Yeah, I think possibly. I mean, it's a pretty bold statement. I think I think I saw an article the other day that he'd said, this was his kind of #1 plan. So it makes sense. We're kind of seeing more and more people kind of look for other avenues when they leave F2 now. You're kind of seeing, unfortunately, there's more and more, like, there's not enough space in F1. So they're kind of looking to things like FE, IndyCar, WEC, and now Super Formula. Another one to talk about is Iwasa has also gone to Super Formula. And yeah, I mean, Theo Pourchaire saying that this was his plan. I think, interestingly, I did see that he'd said for himself, he would prefer to keep racing physically and mentally, but also being under pressure of being in a championship than kind of what we might see other people do, kind of the likes of Felipe Drugovich, kind of standing in the back of an F1 garage waiting for an opportunity. So yeah, is it better to be racing in another championship than standing in the back of the garage? That's kind of your decision to make. And the other thing is that Liam Lawson's shown it's a really good option, right? So it's kind of in between F2 and F1 almost. It's a good training ground. He was able to jump straight into the F1 car. Not saying that that's the only reason. Obviously, Liam's a talented driver, but still a positive look for the championship. So yeah, I mean, now with all the F1 seats full, with Logan Sargent staying at Williams, I think racing somewhere else is definitely a good move. And then maybe come back, see what's happening for 2025, see if Sargent's improved, for example, see what's happening. You never know what's going to happen with contracts, or as I think was previously mentioned, 2026 when Sauber's due to come in with Audi. So I think it's a smart move. You're kind of giving yourself like a filler or buffer time to kind of explore your other options. So yeah, I think it would be a good move for Theo.
Yeah, I think as long as he goes and does well, isn't it? Then it's definitely a good move. If I can compare it to football, if you'll allow me, it's kind of like either you sit on the bench and wait for your chance to come on the pitch, or you go, I've got a chance to go on loan somewhere to another country. Let's go and do it. And as long as you go and perform well, then everyone's going to want you. So I think that's kind of what we saw in Liam Lawson. He got given that chance to go and race, and everyone was then talking about him, and people almost, Felipe Drogovic, that's, he won F2, but he was waiting for his chance to get out in FP1. So yeah, it's an interesting debate, and I think Theo Pourchaire, I do like his argument there of keeping mentally in a championship fight. So very interesting discussion, that one. And there were some big names out there. Of course, Ayumu Iwasa, we know him. Ollie Rasmussen. I liked seeing Ben Barnicoat out there as well. I feel he needs a good shot. David Vidales, we know, has been doing the lights. Nolan Siegel, who did Indy Lights, is near. Rasmus Lind and Igor Fraga, who once won Gran Turismo as well, when I commentated on it in 2018. So he's gone from playing the PlayStation possibly to Super Formula. So good luck to him. Okay, I want to talk quickly about Alpine Academy with you, Laura. Nicola Lacorte has joined it. He's become the 10th current driver, I make that now, to be in it. He is racing in Formula 4. He finished 9th in Italian F4 this season with Prema. It's growing pretty quickly, the Alpine Academy, isn't it? They got some great drivers from F2 all the way down to F4. What do you make of the Alpine Academy and how it's growing? It seems to be getting a stronger presence all the time, particularly with the likes of Victor Martins, Sophia Flörsch, Gabriele Mini, Abby Pulling as well. It's got some big names in there.
Yeah, exactly. So Lacorte showcased his skills this year by finishing 9th in the Italian F4 season, and he also raced in Euro 4 with Prema. And all signs are pointing to him to join Trident FRECA, and he can be a contender for the rookie title maybe. But what is particularly noteworthy is the context of Alpine's Academy overall growth. As you said, they are already home for notable drivers like Victor Martins, Zach Dovo, and many more. And the inclusion of Lacorte makes the Alpine Academy a force to be reckoned with. It already was, because their drivers had a lot of success these years, and they're spanning their academy across various racing seasons. But the question is the academy becoming a Red Bull driver academy with many drivers? Where are they going? And what are they doing in the future? How will they develop their drivers for the future? It would be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. How are the drivers going to perform? Where are they going? It will be an interesting thing to see.
Yeah, no, they're definitely. And, the Mercedes is another one that's growing. They've actually got some of their kart drivers out racing in Bahrain at the grand finals this week as well. So, it's a really, really interesting one to see. So good luck to Nicola Lacorte. Our guys here at Feeder Series reckon he'll be at Trident in FRECA next year, although that's not confirmed. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Let's go then to Clement Novalak, another F2 driver. We talked Theo Pourchaire. He wasn't at the last round, is he? And it's now announced he's joining Inter Europol for the 2024 European Le Mans Series season. Of course, didn't go to the last round, but what do you make of this for Clement going forward now? It seems he's not the only one taking that choice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of people sad not to see him do the final round of F2 in Abu Dhabi, but such is the natural progression of motorsport. You make room for someone else, and Paul Aaron took his spot. I think new era of racing for Clem. I think new opportunities and a different side of things to what he's used to. Different car, different setup, different weekend, different format. Definitely something to kind of get stuck into, and a very popular driver as well. So I think that will bring hopefully a lot of attention over to ELMS as well. it's probably fair to say that he didn't have the best campaigns in Formula 2, finishing 14th in 2022, 17th this year. The highlight, of course, being the win in Zandvoort, with the absolute chaos that was that feature race. But yeah, I think it would be really great to see him thrive in a different form of racing in what is going to be quite exciting times in ELMS and moving on up to WEC potentially in the future. So great move for Clem. Hopefully it's something that can bring him some more success. So good luck to him.
Yeah, no, brilliant stuff for him. Amongst as well, Lorenzo Flusha is obviously going, Ritomo as well, Alex Garcia, Gregoire Saucy, of course, Ritomo is doing F2 as well. I'm going to quickly do some headlines, and we got one more to do. So Taylor Barnard, Brando Badua to PHM in the Formula Regional Middle East. Gerard Shee's gone to M2 competition for Formula Regional Oceania. This one excited me, actually. I did want to squeeze it in, but Alex Powell has become the first driver to go from the Prema Kart team to Prema Racing, the young Jamaican. So watch out for him. He's doing Italian F4 next year. Congratulations, Jack Beaton, on winning the Formula 4 Southeast Asia title. Martina Stenchorn won the Petter Solberg scholarship, won some money for that. And then well done to our 2023 Girls on Track winners as well, Alba and Vanessa as well. Let's end then with our final story. I wanted to give this one the final one because I think it's a really nice story. I want to get both your opinions on this. I'll start with you, Laura. Adam Fitzgerald announced that he is signed with Turn 3 Motorsport for the USF Pro 2000 next year. I mean, of course, we know what he's been through. It started with having that really nasty incident at Imola, and then we all know he was involved in that tragic incident at Spa in FRECA. Adam has fought back and has now announced he's going stateside. Really nice story, this, isn't it, to see him fight back from all of that, all the injuries he's faced, both physically and mentally, and now he's on the road to Indy.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that it's a new story for him, because his journey to the States marks a significant turn. He has a really European racing background. He began his single-seater racing in British F4. And then he went to Italian F4. And now this year he was in FRECA. And he got the best result of his career with a 4th place finish in the Oceania Championship. But he only did a part-time campaign, so he finished 17th in the standings. And then he went to the European Championship, but he only did 4 rounds due to the injuries that forced him to be out of the cockpit for over 3 months. So yeah, it is a turn going to America now. It begins a new chapter, and it's a really good thing to see. It shows resilience, shows strength, and I only wish him the best this year.
Yeah, and what about yourself, Izzy? What do you make of it? I mean, it's really nice, isn't it, to see him come back from what happened there to be in such a big championship like USF Pro 2000, which was won by Miles Rowe this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of echoing what Laura said, it's kind of a nice way to open a new chapter. And yeah, I mean, to come back from the adversity that he's been through just shows real resilience and is just fantastic. It's a heartwarming kind of new chapter, kind of end to that story is to see him back and doing what he loves. So yeah, really good luck to him and hope that it's a successful one as well.
Yeah, and he talks about it in our FRECA podcast, which is going to be an end of season review, shall I say, which is going to be coming out this month at some stage. Okay, thank you both for joining us. That's all we got time for. I told you we'd run over from the original time I had planned, but it wouldn't be the Transfer Weekly show without that. Thank you both for joining us. Do both come back again soon. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been episode 5 of Transfer Weekly. We've got one more of these before we finish for this year, and then we'll be back again in the new year for more. Thank you both for tuning. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe and all the usual things, and we'll be back again next week with some more transfers and news from the feeder series. This has been Transfer Weekly, episode 5. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.